I'm here to tell you the Chargers just got disrespected. There was an article that was put out by ESPN. There was an article that was put out by ESPN, and I mean, like, look, you have to take everything that ESPN does with a grain of salt, but it's not like they were just having one guy do it. Now, Mike Clay recently ranked all 32 NFL teams by 10 key positions on both offense and defense, and LA kind of is at the bottom of the barrel in most of them. And here's what I will say. I'm going to give the bad news. I'm going to give the good news, but I'm also going to give the what are you talking about news. And so I did want to have that conversation. So let's get to it. Chargers Wire on USA Today did a good job of summing up every single one. Quarterback, 9. They put the quarterback position at number 9. I think this is the one position where it's only one player that matters. And it's just very interesting to see that ranking come out at 9. I think it's fair. I think Herbert's a top 10 quarterback that has some, proof that maybe he can do some more. Personally, I'd rank him a little bit higher, probably 6, 7. But that's just me. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the quarterback position. We talk about Herbert enough on this. Now let's get to other areas. Let's get to running back, where it's ranked number 29. Now, this running back room is essentially the Baltimore Ravens running back room last year. Did anybody think their running back room was number 29 last year? I don't think so. J.K. Dobbins is one of those guys that if he's healthy, if he's 90% of what he was, it's just nuts. In fact, I was just reading an article right here where Daniel Jeremiah was talking about you need to add J.K. Dobbins as a player who could be a huge fantasy football player. He said when he's been healthy, he has been really good. Dobbins has 0 adjustments to the offense. It's good to go. All right? Neither of their running backs have any adjustments to the offense. So I would actually rank this as a top 25 and possibly push in top 20. I think I'm really high in Kamani Vidal, though. I am. I think he's a little bowling ball that I think is going to have a lot of success. So even if Dobbins does get hurt and Vidal ends up getting 100 carries, I think you're just going to see a future. All right, wide receiver 31. This one is tricky for me because when I look at this wide receiver crew, I don't think to myself that it's garbage. I really don't. When I see, DJ Chark out there, when I see Ladd McConkey, I see Josh Palmer, what I see is unproven, right? I think Josh Palmer is proven that as a third receiver, a second receiver, he's very good. He's very much serviceable, but he hasn't proven that he's a number 1. Ladd McConkey is operating already as the team's 1, but he's a rookie. So this is the one ranking that I hate, but I can't argue it now. I just can't wait to see what it is at the end of the year because I think it'll be a lot higher. All right, tight end, you're looking at number 22. I think that's very interesting when you look at tight end at 22. When you look at this team and what you have at the tight end position, you have guys that aren't super proven, but you got Hurst, you got Disley, you got Parham, right? So, that's not a bad room. There's just no star power, which is why it's ranked right around 20, which is what it should be, unfortunately. Offensive line. Can we have a conversation about the offensive line for a second? I would love to have a conversation because the offensive line was ranked at 15. I understand we got a lot of moving parts to this right now. I apologize for that, okay? With all the stuff. Maybe you like it. Maybe you like constant moving images. And here they go. 15 on the offensive line. Let's look at this offensive line for a second. Rashawn Slater, Johnson, Bozeman, Pipkins, Alt. If Pipkins is playing as well as we hear, if Pipkins can be that right guard that goes from being like a fringe starting tackle to a great starting guard, all of a sudden this offensive line can become a top 10 offensive line. It absolutely can, because Slater and Alt, I think, will very quickly be the number 1-2 punch as far as tackles go. So I think this offensive line has the ability to be phenomenal and get better really quickly. I think they're good. All right, this next one, interior defensive line, 32. Ladies and gentlemen, there are only 32 teams in the NFL. So that means that ESPN has rated your interior defenders as the worst in the NFL. And there's some stuff. You got Poona Ford in there. Boygby is in there. Fox will go in and out. Hinton. But I understand kind of this idea. I don't think it's the worst in the NFL, but it is definitely a weak spot for this team. And I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. So I hear that, and that's the one that it does sting a little bit. The next one I don't like, all right? Well, actually, the next one I love. Sorry, I thought linebacker was next. The next one is edge defender. Here's my question. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Tui Pelotu. Who's better? How are you 5? Who's 1? Browns, maybe? Like, who has a pair of edge rushers that is better than that? So this is where I'm going to get, when we're done, I'm going to give you why it's important at what positions you're high. And I think that's something that's important. So then we go linebacker. They're 31st. We hear your linebacker coach talking about how this is a good linebacking crew. I'm excited about it. You got some rookie talent. You have a lot of young talent there. And whether you're sitting there talking about Junior Colson, Dion Henley, like these are the young talented guys. And then you have the Denzel Perrymans that are around just hanging. They're just hanging around. And they can be just fine. All right. Last 2 positions are corner and safety. Corner, you rank 27, which, again, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair assessment of where you are. I think Asante Samuel is about to have a great year. I think Christian Fulton, if he can stay healthy, is a serviceable number 2 corner. He's not a good number 2 corner, but he's serviceable. And so I don't understand how the 27th rank comes. And then I go to safety here, and it's ranked 8. And I struggle with that one, too, because this is a top 5 safety unit. Alohi Gilman played great last year. Derwin James, now with Minter as the defensive coordinator, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. It is going to be just a pleasure to watch him again. There might be, at the end of the season, we may say there's no safety core that does it better. So here's what's important. The 3 positions they ranked in the top 10, safety, edge, and quarterback. 2 of those are the most important position on the football field on their side of the ball. What I mean by that is the quarterback is the most important position on the offensive side of the ball, and then edge rusher is the most important on the defensive side of the ball. And then I would make the argument that offensive tackle is as important or next, or offensive line is next on the offensive side, because it can make everything easier for everybody. So if you have lack of talent at wide receiver, or a lack of proven talent at wide receiver, if you have a lack of talent at running back, a good offensive line makes all that better. I will also make the argument on the defensive side of the ball. If you have 2 great safeties roaming the back end, they minimize the struggle, and so they make the floor higher for the entire defense, especially when you have guys that are rushing the passer at the rate that the Chargers will. So while they may not have all their position groups in a great place, the 4 position groups that are good are extremely important. So I think they got disrespected in this list, but at the same time, it shows exactly what we knew before. The team has some holes, but they have enough to win at the same time. All right, thanks for watching. Go Bolts.